Hello, I'm Matt with Mr. Matt Woodworks, and today we are going to be diving into some practical tips and tricks regarding beveled versus mitered edges using a mini toy barn that I built the end of last year to show those examples. And a video documenting that process will also be coming shortly soon later, so stay tuned. So what exactly is the difference between mitered or beveled cuts or joints or angles? A mitered cut is one where you hit the like button. A beveled cut is one where you smash it and then subscribe. Sometimes these terms are used interchangeably, like making a mitered cut or a beveled cut. But typically, a mitered cut, you can think of it more as like a cross cut. You're cutting an angled cut across the width of a board. A beveled cut, on the other hand, is typically referring to an angled cut down the board's length or the depth if you're making like a shadow box or something like that. In this video, you'll see mitered cuts where I'm making the trim pieces and the beveled cuts when I'm making the roof paneling pieces for this little toy barn. And now that we've cleared that up, let's look at how I use those types of cuts to make seamless joints and edges for odd angles surrounding this thing. Digital angle finders are awesome. Some are better than others, but the ones I use in this video have given me great results time and time again. I started by labeling my edges and then finding the angles and measurements between the corners. So for the top of this barn, we want the roof pieces to come together at nice, clean joints at all of these corners. We're going to have a panel for each of these pieces. To get this angle figured out for cutting on the table saw, we have to figure out this, which we already did. It's 141.7. Then we divide that in two, so we have two pieces that come together at the same angle. That gives us, what we're doing, 70.85. Now you can't set your table saw, or at least most people can't set their table saw to an angle of 70.85. So what you do is subtract that angle from the perfect 90. Your table saw has already given you 90 degrees. And then to get to 70.85, you just subtract it, and that gives you an angle of 19.15, which you can set on a table saw. So we're going to set our angle to 19.15 and then make our cut. And that'll be for this side of this panel, and then we'll make another cut for this side of this panel. Then we need to figure out the angle here, dissect it or bisect it the same way, and then subtract from 90 and do it all over again. These two angles should be the same. These should be the same, but well, we don't really need, these are just going to be overhanging, so that's fine there. And then we'll just need one little piece to come sit flush against there, and then that will overhang. So yeah, just a few cuts and we'll be all set. You can see here to find the 70.85 degree angle, I rotated the angle finder 90 degrees when attaching it to my blade. As we figured out earlier, this is 19.15 degrees off of 90. And if you don't rotate the angle finder, you can find the angle just the same. You do whatever is easier and makes sense to you. Now it's a little hard to see with the black paint, but these beveled cuts came together nice and tight. Moving on to mitered cuts. I find it a little easier for smaller, more delicate pieces to use the table saw with the crosscut guide instead of adjusting and making the cuts at the miter saw. I take the measurement of the corner, divide it in half, dial that in on the angle finder, and then adjust my crosscut guide accordingly. And most importantly, making sure the edge of the digital angle finder is riding between the teeth of the saw. The teeth will stick out a little bit to either side, which can be the difference between tight, crisp joints or daylight peeking through the bottom of your mitered or beveled joint, which just leaves chills down your spine. It's just, I've seen it 100 times. It's never a bad idea to run a couple test strips through it first, but once it's done right, you'll have tight, crispy joints that will leave you feeling, oh, so satisfied. Now, if you found any of the information in this video helpful, I've got more videos out there and more on the way. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you'll be notified when the next video comes out. If you've stuck it out this long, I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.